I therefore ask the Congress, above and beyond the increases I have earlier requested for space activities, to provide the funds which are needed to meet the following national goals. First, I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. No single space.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Brandon B Show. If you feel like you were late to the Pulsechain, PulseX sacrifice, fear not, because in this video, I want to discuss two major ecosystem projects that I've personally chosen to participate in the sacrifice phase, essentially kind of the fundraising phase of, which I think definitely have potential. So I want to do a kind of brief rundown of these projects, what they are, and the potential opportunity with them. So if you like the sound of that, folks, do me a favor, like and subscribe. This is a brand new channel, so I highly appreciate your guys' support. And the reason why you want to subscribe is, folks, I am a broke person who has to work at jobs I don't necessarily really like in order... I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like, in order to survive. I view myself as a financial slave, and I don't want to be. And so I'm highly incentivized to get this investing thing right. That's why this channel is called, essentially, part of the model of this channel is trying to go from being broke to a billionaire. Now, that project may take years, but I'm essentially sharing with you guys my process. And so one of the most important things I've learned along the way, and again, folks, stay tuned to this video, I'll delve into all this stuff, but it's extremely important to understand why, my motivation as to why I'm bringing you guys these two projects. You see, after looking at the cryptocurrency markets for years and trying to be a trader, trying to be an investor, one of the most important lessons I've learned along the way is the fact that if you want to do the rare thing of going from broke or not having a lot of money or not being financially free to being financially free, to being wealthy, essentially, the more difficult a place you're starting out from and the higher your aspirations are, the rarer the thing you have to do in order to achieve your goals. Because the thing that most people get is the thing that most people do, which is, invest in the most average thing and get average market returns. But if you're interested in outperforming the market, you need to do things differently. And in order to do that, you need to get in early at a good valuation, things that are fundamentally sound. And so in that effort, I, about a year and a half ago or so, went all in, put my entire life savings into essentially two things: Pulsechain, an Ethereum competitor, and PulseX. Now, unfortunately, the sacrifice phase where you can get in and get an allocation of tokens is over. But to kind of, again, put into context why these cryptocurrencies I'm going to bring up are so important to pay attention to, and why you should be paying attention to this video, this spiel, over other things, is because of this reason that I'm about to describe, which is Ethereum competitors. And getting in early on Ethereum competitors have been historically extremely profitable. Right here, we're looking at Solana and major ecosystem projects. Solana, over the course of just about a year did 24,000% returns. Phantom did 200,000-ish% returns. Cardano ADA did 14,000% returns in the span of just about roughly 2 years. My point is, these layer 1 smart contract blockchains, when you get in early in the span of a couple of years, can do extremely well. And historically, some of their major ecosystem projects have done very well. Now, since the initial sacrifice phase for Pulsechain has been out for quite a while, and it's over now, and many high-quality DeFi projects have had their own sacrifice phases for Pulsechain, and many of those are over now. Many people, I think, are in a similar position as me, where they find themselves thinking, oh, I'm too late to this ecosystem. You're not, with potentially these two potentially major ecosystem projects. Number one is Phamous.io. What is Phamous.io? Glad you asked. It is a fork of GMX. GMX is a decentralized perpetual exchange on Arbitrum and Avalanche. It launched here in the nasty bear market where everything is crashing and burning, and managed to grow. I think we managed to grow more than this. Am I looking at the right chart? I think we managed to grow, like roughly, 250% in the span of, a couple months? Yeah, in a bear market, these are amazing returns. So once the bull market comes, past results are not a guarantor of future performance, but it's kind of gives you an idea of, an idea that has gotten some traction in a bear market where everything's crashing and burning. 250% growth is quite impressive. And what this is GMX is a token that you can stake and earn a little bit of fees in all the cryptocurrencies traded on the platform. I believe, you're earning roughly about 8% APR, APY for staking the GMX token. And again, you get a percentage of all these different tokens traded on the platform. But with Phamous.io, you'll be able to stake the Phamous token and perhaps get an allocation of Pulsechain, Pulsex, Hex, major ecosystem projects on the new blockchain, Pulsechain, which again, if we look at this performance of similar competitors in the past, we want to be paying attention to this ecosystem, folks. Now, if you want to sacrifice and participate, here are the addresses. None of this financial advice. Do your own research. I'll leave links down in the description below to the website so you can do your own research. I'm not telling you what to do. This is not financial investment advice of any kind. I believe the rate at which you get has worsened over time. You can go to their Telegram and find out for sure. But again, folks, even if it has, you got to understand, we are getting into the fundraising round of these projects. It's very comparable to think about it as like a fundraising A round for a company, where this is the earliest you can get in to an investment round, which typically brings with it the highest risk. But if it works out and they deliver on what they promise and it gets traction in users, the highest potential reward as well. And again, why I like the Phamous token is not simply because you're solely relying on the potential price appreciation of the Phamous token, but you can also stake it for things like Pulsechain, which are, again, likely to do well, in my opinion. So, links in the description below. Check it out. Second project I want to bring up is Power City. Now, I've had the pleasure of having on members from both these teams on my other channel, Million to the Moon. I'll leave links for those interviews down in the description below as well, so you can check out more longer form content there with me interviewing members of the team. But just to kind of summarize what Power City is all about here, this is a very ambitious protocol. So what this is essentially a protocol that has a core. The Power City core is kind of the main hub of the ecosystem. And what this protocol does is it invests and builds out different decentralized applications, such as an NFT marketplace, a cross-chain swap, a lending protocol for Pulsex, where you can take a loan out against your Pulsex and receive a stablecoin. And they accrue fees. Each one of these dApps accrues fees for using them. Those fees get redistributed back to the core, and the core distributes those fees to the token stakers. So if you sacrifice for Power City, you get the Watt token. You stake the Watt token in the core receives and redistributes the fees collected by all the different decentralized applications. I hope that makes some kind of sense. Again, if you want something more long format, I'll leave links in the description below for the longer interviews that I've had with the different team members. So, folks, super, super interesting stuff that I think Power City is doing. Now, if we look at kind of the sacrifice address here, and we go to ETHPLOR, copy and paste it in the search thing here, and see how much has been sacrificed. I don't think this is an accurate sacrifice amount here. I believe, we've received a couple $1 million in worth of sacrifice. So I bring this up because Power City, solely one of their dApps, the EARN protocol, where you can take out a loan against your Pulsex and receive a stablecoin, just that one dApp, if you look at what a similar project has raised, Liquid Loans, for example, where with Liquid Loans, you could take out a loan against your Pulsechain and get a stablecoin in return. It's a fork of Liquidity. Both the EARN protocol and Liquid Loans are both a fork of Liquidity. It's an existing protocol on the Ethereum network where you can take a loan against your Ethereum and receive a stablecoin. Very interesting, useful DeFi project. But what I'm trying to get at here is Liquid Loans raised over $50 million. I think it's around $55 million, 51. They raised over $50 million for just the idea, just the one dApp of taking a loan out against your Pulsechain and receiving a stablecoin. Power City is doing that with the Pulsex token. So again, Pulsechain, it's the gas token for the Pulsechain ecosystem. Pulsex is the main decentralized exchange on the Pulsechain ecosystem. And so Power City is doing the same thing that Liquid Loans is doing, except instead of for Pulsechain, for Pulsex. I hope you guys are following. I hope that's making sense. Plus, they have all these other dApps, a major NFT marketplace, a cross-chain swap, a front end for liquid loans. I believe they're also doing a multi-chain DEX. Folks, these are massively useful decentralized applications, and they've only raised a couple $1 million, where one of their competitors who are only doing one of those things raised over $50 million. My point is, I think a lot of people are sleeping on Power City. You know, this is a very ambitious project. Who knows if they will deliver on their promises? But if they do deliver on, bringing about a front end for liquid loans and a useful NFT marketplace, a cross-chain swap, the Earn protocol, and if they do get usage, I mean, those are very popular use cases on other chains that typically, at least theoretically, should be collecting a lot of fees. And so I think there's an argument to be made that Power City is frankly incredibly undervalued. And I think there's a similar case to be said here with Phamous.io. Last time I checked on the Telegram, I think they only raised a couple $1 million. Again, folks, I'll leave links for their websites. You can check out their Telegrams, ask all these questions yourself. Do your own research. None of this is financial advice. I'm saying all this to say that these are the reasons why I have personally chosen to participate in these projects. Whether you do so or not, it's completely up to you. Again, there's a lot of risk when investing in cryptocurrency, especially when sacrificing for unproven ideas. Guys, when you're sacrificing for these two projects, you're sacrificing for the idea stage. These things don't even exist yet. So high risk, potentially high reward, if and when Pulsechain launches in the next couple months and these protocols launch successfully and gain adoption and traction, which is not a guarantee, but I think there's enough meat on this bone that I have chosen to participate. And again, these two projects fall into my investment thesis of focusing on things that are early at a good valuation. Folks, on this channel, I like things like Cardano, like XRP, like BNB, these cryptocurrencies that are more popular. But if you invest in those cryptocurrencies that are the most popular, which most people are investing in, you're going to get what most people get, which is average market returns. And I'm not interested in that. I'm not going to go from broke to billionaire doing the average person thing. No, you have to be different, which is what I'm trying to do. I hope you guys appreciate that. If you do me the favor of liking and subscribing and sharing this video. This is a brand new channel, so your support is incredibly appreciated. And folks, like with these bigger channels, when you like and you sub, it doesn't really matter. But for a new channel like this, literally every one sub, every one share means the world to me and this channel. Folks, thank you so much. Make sure you stay tuned. And let's see if we can go from broke to billions.
New toes, new guac, new bands, new wig, new chips, new kicks, Jackie Chan, as she play. Bad bitch, no bag. I just hit another lick and she be counting in my rest. And I be feeling hella rich, no grind, 100 stack. About to make another hit, got bitch in my life. Little me, little bitch, yeah, you know that I'm your man. You be capping like a snitch, no thoughts, won't stand. 2 hoes, 10 toes, new guac, new bands, new wig, new chips, new kicks, Jackie Chan, as she play.